Hello, BookTube. You know what I gotta do. Cheers, my friends. Try not to keep it too long. This is, hang on a minute, let me see if I can get this thing straightened out. Well, tell you how good I am with phones and whatnot. Hold on before I throw this thing across the room. Okay, the situation resolved itself. I didn't have to throw the phone. Ooh, technology's awesome. This is an original tag, 52 Nifty Bookish Q's tag, an original by Strip Cover Lit. I'm assuming Adrian did this. I'm trying to take anything from Dalton, but here we go. What book are you reading right now? Piers Anthony, Shame of Man. What was the last thing you highlighted? I don't highlight. Not any of my fiction or nonfiction. The only time I highlighted was when I was in college, and if it was a textbook I was planning on keeping or sometimes reselling, that was fine. But I don't do that. I don't highlight. What do you plan to read next? Plan to read Formerly by Dane Cobain for Todd Dane's indie read-along, and I love showing the mugshot. Four, one fiction writer, living or dead, with which I would like to grab a drink. One fiction writer? Crap. I want to go with Louis L'Amour. One nonfiction writer, living or dead, with which I would like to grab a drink. That'd be D. Brown, the man who wrote Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee. And he also wrote The Westerners and several other great nonfiction books that I enjoyed. One poet, living or dead, with which I would like to grab a drink. Edgar Allan Poe. One booktuber with which I would like to grab a drink. That is such an unfair question. I'd like to have a drink with all my booktube friends. But since I'm backed in a corner, man, I want to say Laurie and Thomas, because then I could talk to two booktubers. They just have one channel, so there. 8. Emily Dickinson or Edgar Allan Poe. Hemingway or Fitzgerald. Hemingway by a landslide. Jane Austen or Charles Dickens. Harris or Hitchens. Well, I used to watch The Four Horsemen. You know, The Amazing Randy, Dawkins, Harris, and Hitchens. I know Sam Harris. He's a bright guy. He's a neurobiologist, I think, but just always been a fan of Hitchens. Read several of his books, and he was just a great polemicist. I'm going with Hitchens. Stephen King or Michael Crichton? Storytelling-wise, King. Crichton from a conceptual standpoint and a scientific standpoint. I've read a lot of Crichton's books. You know, the guy worked at the Salk Institute, for crying out loud. He never received his degree, but or his license to practice. But you know, the Salk Institute, Jonas Salk, the guy that came up with the polio vaccine. But I still have to go with Stephen King. Bret Easton Ellis or Chuck Palahniuk or whatever. I know the one did American Psycho and the other one did Fight Club, I think. I got to go with Bret Easton Ellis. I liked American Psycho. I liked where Leto gets his. Anyway, 14. Kurt Vonnegut or John Green? Vonnegut, again by a landslide. I have no interest in reading John Green. Shakespeare's poems or plays? Plays. Adrian Ford or Dalton Gentry? Come on, man. That ain't fair. I'm going to go with Dalton because I've watched quite a few of these and everybody's going with Adrian. So, Cormac McCarthy or J.K. Rowling? As just one reader, I pronounced. I got to go with Cormac McCarthy. I've never read a Rowling book in my entire life, nor do I intend to. 18. Hannibal Lecter or Voldemort? Lecter. T.C. Bull or George Saunders? T.C. Bull based... Oh, man, what was the name of that book? The Road to Wellville, I want to say. Where the guy comes out of the sanitarium and he starts a breakfast cereal company. So I'm going to go with T.C. Bull. Good writing or good story? It has to be good writing. YA or children's lit? Children's lit. I mean, it's what got me started reading. Irony or humor? Humor. Well, I enjoy both, but I'm going to go with humor because I'm a funny guy. Sci-fi or horror? Jeez. Yeah, my two favorite genres. Damn. Man. I gotta go with sci-fi because when I got out of children's lit, I started getting into sci-fi back in the 70s. So, still love horror though. 24. Fantasy or nonfiction? I gotta go with nonfiction. 25. Rather find a new favorite contemporary writer or a new favorite old-time great? That really wouldn't matter to me. Probably an old time. Sonnet or haiku? Man, I'd say sonnet. Sestina or villanelle? I don't even know what those two things mean. 28. Spend the evening at a library or bookstore? Bookstore. Because I like to bring stuff home I could keep. Magazine or Wikipedia article? I'd have to go with Wikipedia article because supposedly they're constantly updated, so you're getting, your facts are recent. Dictionary, encyclopedia? Well, encyclopedias nowadays, I have an old set of encyclopedias here from the 60s. Obviously, back in the day, there was your go-to for sources of information, but they become outdated, fairly quickly nowadays. So, and I keep a dictionary around. Almost missed my mouth. So, obviously, dictionary. The writer I would like to write my biography. Good grief. Even though he's no longer with us, Harlan Ellison, because he would tell it like it is. 32. I do or do not highlight in my books. I do not, unless it's a textbook for school. And I haven't been in college in a long time. 33. I do or I do not write in my books. I don't write in my books, unless it's a textbook. 34. Earliest memory of a library. Probably at Rousseau Elementary. We may have had one when I was in the first grade, but I was just starting out reading. So, last time you went to the library? 8 years ago. I donated one of my books to the high school I used to go to. 36. Have you ever accidentally stolen books from the library? Yeah, I actually have a book here. Can't find it. It's right there. I got from the Port Huron Library back in the 80s. And it's about Native Americans. It's a Dares something or other. I can't get it out. I got this phone. Sorry, library people. 37. Ballpark Park. How many books do you own? Probably between 400 and 500. I'd have to guess at that because I haven't counted them all. But so there's Sense and Sensibilities and Sea Monsters and Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, etc. How do you feel about the phenomena? I don't really care. I probably will never read anything like that. I don't particularly care for remakes or, you know, stuff like that. But I mean, hey, if that's your jam, hey, go for it. Horror trope you would like to see get more love. Yeah, probably the werewolf. I mean, I kind of am a big fan of that. Got nothing against vampires, but kind of a werewolf guy. Something you think gets underutilized in sci-fi. Evolution that makes sense. You know, a species evolving that makes sense. You know, not, hey, we go out and seed the universe or whatever and everything will be peachy. Although I do like those stories. Flash fiction, form of and format of literature, or it's just a short story dummy. I like flash fiction and have no problem with it. If you could own one book from all of history, what would it be? Well, that would be... I have two choices. The Voynich manuscript, which I think Adrian mentioned in this original tag, or the Egyptian Book of the Dead. 44, audiobooks, the same as reading. Some say so, but I don't listen to audiobooks because when I'm out doing stuff, or if I happen to be writing somewhere to work on something, the people that I'm around, they could care less about an audiobook. So I don't really have the time, and when I do have time, I would rather just read the book. But nothing against people that enjoy them and have to fit them in their schedule, because, hey, I understand. 45, most literary songwriter of your lifetime. Jim Morrison from The Doors. 46, what writer embarrasses you the most because you haven't read them? I'm not embarrassed about it, but it's J.K. Rowling. Because most everybody loves Harry Potter. It's just not for me. What writer embarrasses you because you've read too much of them? Too much from them? I'm not embarrassed. But I've read a lot of Lou L'Amour, and a lot of people don't get westerns. But hey, everybody has their own journey. What is a biography you're looking forward to reading? I'd love to read Harlan Ellison's biography, even though I know a heck of a lot about him. I don't think anybody's written one or is going to. 49. Do you have a dream reading cubby? Yeah, I actually do, and it's behind me. Whenever, in time, if I live long enough, this wall's get knocked out here. There's a whole nother half of a house on that end. Think what you will. There's an elevator here. It's just not finished. I know how that sounds. This place looks like crap back here, but trust me. And this is going to be my library / writing room / whatever, and I will probably end up running some bookshelves down that way. So. 50. Last literary phenomenon that really got your gears grinding. I don't know. It might have been 50 Shades. It might have been Twilight. I don't know. I don't normally get caught up in stuff like that, and I get a little bit annoyed. I understand it's marketing and certain things are popular, certain things aren't. When I have to wade through a pile of displays and stuff of this and that, and most of the time to me it's shallow, but probably what I read is shallow. So I like to try to get to the heart of the bookstore where the stuff I want's at. But, whatever. 51. What was the last piece of literature that changed the way you read? Changed the way I read. I'm not sure there's anything that's changed the way that I read. Unless it was Midworld, which was the book that got me started into the sci-fi genre. But there was also segues into horror and different things. So, heck, I'm going to say Midworld because I put that in a bunch of tags. 52. What booktuber have you been watching the most recently? Actually, I just got done watching Lindsay Reed's to do this tag here, so be Lindsay Reed's. All right, that's it. Not sure who to tag. I know this is circulating around, but if you hung around this long, as always, thank you. And Adrian, good tag, dude. Cheers, my friends. Catch y'all later. Bye.